open context. Mike, we are happy to have you on the stage.
Thanks.
Good luck with your presentation.
Yep, thanks. Okay, welcome. This is a presentation about digital sovereignty. And during this session, I would like to tell you and inform you more about some tips and tricks of how to migrate away from American hyperscalers to European cloud providers. And I will do that. I have a few examples of a few customers I have, which we migrated away from Azure to Dutch cloud providers. So I would like to share some information about that. Let's continue. So now let's imagine you're a cloud engineer and working on cloud services in your company. Not sure if you need to imagine it. Are there any like cloud engineers or cloud service providers here in the room? Oh, quite a lot. That's good to see. So you don't need to imagine it's like your real job. But if you're not, imagine you're a cloud provider, you host some certain applications in the cloud, for example, in the Microsoft Azure cloud. Then suddenly your security advisor calls you and he says, oh yeah, I heard some issues with Trump. How easy is it to migrate your application to a European cloud provider? Or maybe even worse, if the compliance officer calls you in the middle of the night and says, okay, I heard some compliance issues with American cloud providers. How easy is it to migrate away your whole stuff? And those are usually quite difficult questions. Not sure like if the person would call you, how easy would it be to migrate your applications to the cloud? Does it take like minutes, hours, months, years? Okay, for one customer, I did the migration and we did it in 1 hour. So I will tell you a little bit how we did it and what the trick is, why it in some cases takes years and some takes just an hour. But before I will tell you about that, let me first introduce myself. My name is Krom. I have my own company. I'm a managed service provider kind of company. I mostly help development teams, innovation teams, and data scientist teams to run their applications in the cloud. I think 90% of them are using Azure. Maybe I'm a little bit from the dark side. I used to work for Microsoft. So that's where my expertise is. But lately more and more of my customers start to ask me like, yeah, it's nice, it runs in Azure, but how easy is it to migrate away? So I got more experience with non-Azure clouds. So I would like to share my knowledge about that to you. So how easy is it actually to migrate Azure or like cloud resources in general? If I go to a CTO or a CEO or like an IT manager, they usually tell me a story like, we built everything in infra as code. We use Terraform to deploy our entire environment. Terraform supports all clouds. So I assume it's one click and then everything is migrated. It's a nice sales pitch, but in practice it doesn't really work like that. I heard similar stories about Kubernetes. So people say, we have everything in containers. We can just move our containers to the other side, and then it should work. Then usually I tell them, at least I try to be a little bit sales still to make it like happy for them. But still, it doesn't take a minute to migrate everything. And the problem is, as probably already know, it's like if you just want to have like a server and you want to migrate the server from one end to another cloud, you can just copy the OS, move the OS to the other cloud, spin it up there, and your VM is running there. So technically, it's not that big of a challenge. The challenge is more in the integration. So all the firewalls, the backups, management system, policies, internal ticketing systems, that's what makes it really complicated. So my trick usually is try to minimize your application, so try to choose an application that you want to migrate that is as less dependent on other services as possible. because that makes it way more easier and you don't need to negotiate with all the other teams. When I started doing this with some data science teams, I immediately got like sort of flagged by the central IT department. It's like, yeah, it's shadow IT, don't use it. We are like Microsoft's only company. So yeah, everything you do we don't like, so we will block you. And yeah, they have some different kind of policy tricks and politics to block these kind of migrations. So that makes it kind of difficult to start this, especially if you want to start this at the central IT department, because yeah, it's too big. And that's also for actually the first company I started migrating from Azure to a Dutch cloud. We used this kind of technique. At least I will explain it. I must say this is a picture from a book. I have a like small hobby of going to university libraries and read like old-fashioned IT books. I must say for example, the first server I saw was in a museum, not like in a physical data center. So I really like this kind of old-fashioned books that still answer like similar questions as we currently have. But in this example, they say, if you want to, this is like the technology innovation life cycle. They try to use new technology in a small team. Try there the technology and see if it works. What are like the major issues? What are the risks? Once you have like a fully proof of concept or like even like an application running in your new technology, you can start to inform your central IT department and find different applications that can also use this cloud. Then you go more like to the transition state where the whole company advises use this cloud as the main cloud, and so you get like sort of a transition of new technologies. That usually works good. Sometimes at some companies you see that this process is not really followed and they have like 10 different kind of solutions for the same problem. Then they should focus more on the centralization part. Then the project scope I started with the migration, it was a data science team. They had, at least the company used Azure. They wanted to have like a new virtual machine because they were trying different graphical simulations and needed to have the newest GPU chips to run their simulations. The internal company of the internal central IT team says, we don't support the new NV Azure virtual machines. So you just need to wait and file approval, file ticket here, get signature there. At least they are already trying for half a year and then said it doesn't work. And then they came to me. So we first set up in another Azure tenant just their virtual machine. They logged in, they did their experiments, and once they said, okay, this is like a good simulation tool, they did like the official approval. So in this way, they could really try out new models. The only challenge was IT got error of the solution, so they tried to block the whole project. And sort of at a similar time, I was in a networking drink at the company. There I met a senior architect, and he had he was like interested in sovereign clouds and European clouds. So we matched up together and said, okay, let's migrate the whole Azure stack that's for this project to a European cloud. So that's how we could start the project in a European cloud. The advantage was we only had virtual machines, so we didn't need to migrate whole DNS systems. We didn't need to migrate entire backup systems and stuff. So it was like a really nice small scope project. We migrated the virtual machines, and then the team could work from the other side. And based on that work, we tried to make like the whole process open source. So we made actually a tool for other teams to also migrate their servers to other clouds. And this is like the user interface of the tool. You can just go to this at the moment GitHub repository. You can download the code. The best is to install it on a new virtual machine because all the dependencies will also be automatically installed. And then if you start the tool, you just get simple user interface where you can start to migrate your virtual machines. What it does is, I can give you a quick start. You can just select any source platform which you want. We support major platforms, and we are trying to add more and more platforms to be migrated from. Actually, the newest one is Stackit. Like last week, 2 weeks ago, the Dutch government said, okay, we support Stackit. At least that's the sort of the general term. So we added also Stackit to our platform. You can just choose where your current server is. So in this case, it's Azure. Then we have different destination platform. In this case, I choose the CISO cloud for migrating the VM to. And the only thing you need is then add the virtual machine name and then press migrate VM. And then in the backend, it will search through your whole cloud environment to see where is this VM located. Is it possible to migrate this VM? And where are the disks located? So if you then migrate the VM, it will start the whole process. As I said, it will try to find the VM in your current cloud, gets usually the ID, and then it will stop the VM. So you get like a little bit of downtime. You only see your VM will be shut down, so your app goes down. So you need to choose a smart migration window. After it stops, it will download the VM. Then the next step, it will also transfer the OS disk, as different clouds support different OS disk formats. Then it will create in the new cloud different resources. It will upload the disk, and then it will start the VM. So in this way, you have like a quick process of like taking the OS disk from one cloud, put it in another cloud, and spin up the VM over there. So then the question is, what's the difficult part? As I said, migrating this to OS disk is not that difficult. We made some extra steps in there to make it even more foolproof. But what we noticed is that, especially in Azure, there are some tricks to export disks. Like in the marketing, it says okay, you're allowed to go away. In real life, you need to pay for it. There are like export costs for exporting your disks, so you need to take care about that. What we also saw is that Microsoft is also throttling your export. So if you export your disk, your connection gets broken every 1 minute, every 2 minutes. So we built like small wrapper to continue the downloading after Microsoft breaks it down. So that's actually the most long step, as Microsoft is limiting that one. There are also other things we saw is, for example, that the naming of different steps is different in different clouds. So in Azure, if you want to stop a VM, you can stop the VM, but it doesn't stop the virtual machine, it only stops the OS disk. If you go to OpenStack, the naming is different. So if you dare stop a VM, it's just the other way around. So there you really need to delete a VM to actually stop the VM and stop for paying the VM cost, but still, VM is still there, so you can still start it. So it's some small tricks that are slightly different. But in this case, we didn't have much integration interfaces, so it worked actually quite smooth. And that's also why we managed to get it in almost an hour running on the other side. Although we discovered one hidden error, They were running a lot of simulations from the PyTorch code, and they used GPUs to do the simulations. Yeah, at the moment, the cloud provider software layer doesn't include the GPUs. They only include the CPUs and memory, so if you want to migrate between that works fine. But migrating between the GPUs is slightly more difficult. Luckily, in our case, we only needed to install some new drivers, and then the software could run again. And for them, it was quite successful also, because they were first running in Azure. They were already running there for 3 years. So the NVIDIA chips that were underneath it were 3 years old. When we moved to the new cloud, we got like the new GPU hardware, so they even run their models faster. So even the machine learning experts were also quite happy. And besides that, also the price was less. Microsoft is increasing the prices of the old virtual machines to try to move you away to newer virtual machines. So yeah, that was also an added benefit. And the last added benefit, at least I experienced, because yeah, I serviced this company at the subscription model, so they pay me just a fixed fee amount each month, so I can do support for them. My expertise is Azure, so it was a little bit tricky to move away to a different cloud. But I like the support desk of the Dutch clouds much better. If you file a ticket in Azure, it usually takes a week before you get a reply. Then it's usually somebody that only says, okay, I approved your ticket. You need to go multiple stages to finally get at the right spot. And then, and especially in the Dutch cloud community, it goes much easier because usually you get like the expert directly on the phone and he says, okay, I've seen it before. You need to do this and this and this. So also for my company, I prefer now to migrate, or at least to start in European clouds. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, the application is on GitHub, and we are now trying to improve the application to add more new features. So we have set up a roadmap, and yeah, we are now applying for the NLNet fund to grow this platform. Yeah, we have some small things we want to improve. We would like to have like multi-disk support. Currently, most of it is still running on Windows because that's what I got used to. But we would like to migrate more also to Linux servers. Yeah, one of the things we still noticed is, for example, backups is kind of still tricky because yeah, backups were taken in Azure. Now we need to take backups in a new cloud. What do you do with the old backups that you still want to retain? Luckily, in this case, they only had like a backup policy for 7 days because it was mostly development work. So we just waited 7 days for the old backups to get expired, and then we just used a new system. But if you want to have like a longer backup time, it becomes more complicated. So especially in that case, if anybody has a solution of how to solve this problem, I'm willing to hear your feedback. Yeah, we also started to work together with the University of Wageningen. Yeah, we are trying to make a more broader model. So they would like to do some research on migration projects, capture that in an AI model, so that we can then use AI to migrate everything without really specific knowledge. So for that, we are also now migrating more and more servers to get experience and to feed the Gen AI model to learn from the other migrations. So then still the question is like, what's digital sovereignty? Is it just moving a server from one place to another place? Or is it moving away from American companies and staying at European companies? Yeah, you can answer the question yourself. I will not impose an answer. At least what I know from this project and also my future vision is actually that you can use cloud as more like an energy market, where you can just migrate one day your servers from one place and then the next day to another one which either has like better pricing, better CO2 footprint, or they try to keep you in a vendor lock-in where you need to take all their services. Because, yeah, especially in the municipal market, I noticed there are also some Dutch providers which also have sort of a vendor lock-in. So only migrating away from American, that doesn't solve the solution. Yeah, then for my experience, if now a new company comes to me and says we want to host our application in the cloud, yeah, which cloud do you now choose as a starting point? And yeah, based on the initial talk, I usually have now some guidelines of where I want to have this application. So for example, if they are like a really sustainable company and also market themselves as the most greenest company, I now usually go to the Leaf Cloud environment. What I also now often try to do is, if I have a lot of data, I usually use the data server in the European cloud. And if they want to use like more machine learning and like the new stuff from like American hyperscalers, then they can still use the Azure part, but then integrate with the different clouds. Yeah. And then the last thing I would like to mention is there are also some disadvantages if you use like a multi-cloud system. Because if you need to troubleshoot between multiple clouds, it becomes more difficult because you need to have like the expertise of both of the clouds. And another thing I noticed myself is that I now get like invoices from 10 different clouds. If something goes wrong on the cloud bill, I need to contact support, which still happens quite often because cloud pricing is quite difficult with sometimes discounts and reservations and new features that have a wrong billing model. So you really need to check all the 10 different bills to see if you don't pay too much or if there's something wrong on the bill. So that's still a major disadvantage of using a multi-cloud strategy. And my hope is a little bit that it will go better in the future. So yeah, that's my presentation. My ideal vision is just that you can have your application, can move them across every clouds. And if you want to move your application to this cloud, then I'm happy to help you and I can give you some advice and information. But I'm actually also looking for people that could help with more of the architectural part. So if you have any ideas of how to do like the backup multi-cloud, or also have like some networking designs for multi-cloud, I would be interested to talk to you and see if we can broaden this platform. Thanks for your time.
Time for questions. First, one question of myself. Do you have a link to your project? You said it is in GitHub, but I didn't see the link, I think.
No, I didn't put it in the slides.
Okay.
But it's Digital Nomad Sky.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned you use a lot of Windows.
Yep.
How do you handle licenses? Because if you move out of Azure, you obviously have to pay the owner of Azure still a fee for using their software.
True, yeah. At least what I currently do is, if I really want to have Microsoft, I usually go to Azure, because there the license price is included in Azure and you don't need to arrange anything with the licenses. If you go to another cloud, then you need to buy the license yourself, yeah. And that's still, we haven't handled that yet. So if you have any suggestions of a good way of how to handle them,
Don't use Windows, yes. In your demonstration, it was very nice, quick, it logged into one cloud, picks it up, puts it in another cloud.
Yep.
How does the authentication authorization work for that?
We use a service account. So if in the first step, actually, you get like a pop-up asking you for credentials.
Okay.
And then you need to fill your own credentials.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we think for now that's the safest option because it's like a one-time tool where you migrate. So we didn't want to do much of the integrations, and it also makes it more complex if you want to add that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Is VMware also supported? Migration from VMware to cloud or to Proxmox, for example?
Not yet, because Proxmox and those things are like usually the hypervisor layer, and I work mostly with cloud providers. So at the moment, we support OpenStack as cloud service provider, and then underneath, I don't really care what's underneath it. But that's up to the cloud provider.
Do you got some kind of playbook for the whole networking setup? Because I can really imagine that, especially with OpenStack, you got a whole networking stack that you need to enroll first.
Yep.
I did not see that back in your presentation, and indeed, the answer was a little bit answered. Like, if you give SSH root access to a hypervisor, will you just be able to just use, say, SAP to import, export, and then deploy systems, or is that not in the feature list of your at the moment?
Yeah, to answer your first question about the networking, at the moment, it's like a built-in step to create networks. But yeah, we're still looking for like the ideal solution. Because now it just spins up like a random IP subnet. And yeah, there needs to be like something more smarter so we can also later integrate with other networks. So there's still like a design question open to solve. And for your hypervisor question, yeah, that's not something we handle on this platform because we do like only on virtual machine level. So everything underneath the virtual machine level is arranged by the cloud service provider. So if you get like root access on your VM, as you set it up, then you also have that in your new environment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how that works. That's like the layer underneath it. Okay. Okay, I got your point. Actually, we migrate from the OS level. So all the other stacks is managed by the cloud provider. So if the cloud provider says you should have root access to the hypervisor, which most cloud providers don't, then then you don't have access.
So you've been talking about moving from one provider to another.
Yep.
But what about the scenario of using multiple providers at the same time for robustness or scalability or whatever? Is that also something that you are considering?
I'm a little bit puzzling where your question is, because the tool only migrates one server from one place to another place. So if you have already multiple clouds available, then it still works. You can still move one VM between the different clouds.
Maybe I'm talking, instead of moving, say copying or something like this. Would that also be a possibility?
Yeah, it actually copies. So we just export the OS disk from one cloud and import it into a different cloud. And we stop the VM so we don't get any sync issues. And then in a new cloud, they spin up the VM, they test it. If it works, they stay there and we delete the old one. If they say, okay, we still experience issues or it's slow or something happens, they can still start up the old one and use the VM over there.
Any other question?
Yes.
Individual virtual machine moving is clearly straightforward, and I'm happy to see that. The systems that I tend to work on are multiple machines, usually in different roles, often making use of some shared relational data service. And I would like, or they're Kubernetes clusters or similar. So I'd like to hear what you have to say in terms of the future and moving more than individual machines, but complex systems.
Yeah, at least for this project, we are still trying to figure out what's the best way forward. In the past, I used to work for Microsoft, and there they also migrated away, at least it was 10 years ago, so everything was on-prem. They migrated 200 servers in a month, only the technical part to Azure. And there they migrated just also the more complex systems. The advantage they had at that time was everything was virtual machine, or at least virtual machine and lower. So then you can copy the whole environment, put it on Azure. With the current systems, they use a lot of PaaS services. And then it becomes way harder because you need to migrate storage accounts to one another place. So we are still checking to see what's a good solution for that. And therefore, we focus only on application teams which have only a small set of servers. Get experience from that, add new features from that side, and then slowly migrate to more complex systems. So we hope then also to onboard Kubernetes clusters, storage accounts, function apps, maybe even data machine learning environments. It's on the roadmap, but far ahead, yes.
Thank you.
One question for myself. I think 10 or maybe 13 or 14 years ago, when I was looking to platforms like you that supported multi-cloud, all the good ones were bought by big tech, really.
Yep.
And only the sloppy ones were left over, so to say. And when they were taken over, all the multi-cloud support was kicked out, or anyway, you could not trust it upon anymore. So how? What is your roadmap or strategy? I mean, I'm just wondering, can you also be taken over in the future, or is this all open source?
At least at the moment, everything is open source, so you can branch out. If I decide to sell my company to another one, you can branch out and start your own company. But I'm not planning to sell it. I really like my company as it is. I don't want to grow in a multinational company. I just like to do cool projects and help customers to get the most out of IT. So I have no plans of selling this product to big companies.
Okay. Koen, what is your opinion? No. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation and a small gift from the...
Bedankt.